Okay, so today, instead of doing a garden video, I'm out by the hog pen because we are going to do some work on some fencing. And I kind of wanted to, take away from the gardening now that it's, fall's coming on. The garden is pretty much all down except for some carrots and some beets. And of course, we're going to plant some garlic here a little later on, and maybe some spinach for over the winter. But I wanted to start telling you a little bit more about what we do out here on the farm. One of the things is we raise Gloucester Old Spot hogs for ourselves. We do sell some of our piglets to the locals on Craigslist if they're interested. And we've been raising them for about, probably 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. And we actually started raising pigs by accident. A buddy of mine has a exotic duck farm. You might look him up. It's called quackattack.com. His name is Mark Hall. He raises exotic ducks. And he had a problem with predators trying to get into his pen, so he set out some live traps, and he caught not a feral hog, but somebody's hog who had got out in one of his traps. Well, he wasn't too keen on raising it, so he asked us if we wanted to, and I said sure. I had originally built a little fenced-in area over here for my sheep, and it was attached to the lowing shed. So I said, well, this would be a good place for the pig to go. So we put the pig in there. We didn't know anything about raising pigs, and we fed him nothing but corn. At the end of his life, which was about 10 or 11 months later, he was huge. And we butchered him. We butchered him here on the farm. I ended up cutting him into quarters, putting some of him in a freezer that I had set up with a temperature control so it wouldn't freeze. It would only stay at about 36 degrees. And let him cool, cut him into quarters, let him cool for a couple of days, and then processed him. And it was great. It was the first time we gave it a go. It was the first time we'd ever rendered lard. It was the first time I'd ever butchered a whole hog. And we really enjoyed it. We enjoyed the meat. We used the lard. We used the leaf fat. Jackie used it for cooking. So it turned out to be a good deal. And we said, well, maybe we should start raising hogs. And a friend of mine, it's okay, girls. A friend of mine raises Goss hogs. So we bought a couple of them from him. We raised them for a year here, 2 of them, and we processed them here on the farm. During that time, I built a walk-in cooler using a CoolBot and an air conditioner, and put rails up and a processing table, and we just started doing the whole process right here on the farm. Well, that led to more pigs that we had bought just as feeder pigs. And for those of you that don't know, a feeder pig is a pig that you buy at 8 weeks old, and you raise him up to butchering weight, and then you can either take him to the butcher or you can butcher him yourself. You don't use them to breed. And those were outstanding. So we said, well, why are we buying pigs every year? Let's just get us a male and a female. So we did. We got us Archie and Edith. And their offsprings were Meatheads and Glorias, for those of you who are old enough to remember. And we still have Archie and Edith here on the farm. Now, they have had offspring. They, too, have been had babies, and that's where we're at right now. We had, unfortunately, mistakes that we've made is our fencing inside right here that I'll show you that we're going to work on later was not strong enough to keep Archie away from Edith and the daughters come breeding season. So Archie bred Edith and the daughters. I know that's a little weird. And now Archie we have extra babies from them right now, as you can see back behind me. But we have bought Albert Swinestein, who is a new boar hog, who is very young and very small. And we are going to breed him with one of Edith's daughters, who is very small. We're going to let them grow together, and the rest of the pigs are either going to be sold or they're going to go to freezer camp. Before then, in an effort to give them the best life I can, we are going to turn them loose out around our overflow pond, which I will walk you through, and I'll show you where our overflow pond is. We have a pond that we have fish in on the main property, and when we get the rain that we get here in Alabama, which is a lot, that lake fills up, or that pond fills up, and the pond overflow runs down into the overflow pond over here, which holds water till about July. It's held water almost all year this year. It's been pretty wet. And then sometimes it dries out, and the next big rain come December, even the overflow pond is flooding. So anyway, what we've decided to do, well, before I tell you that, let me tell you this. The pigs have broke out of our setup countless times. Like I told you, that they even have gone as far as Archie broke a 12-foot or 15-foot gate, broke the welds on it to get under it and to get over to where Edith sat. So we have to do something about that. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to train them to electric fence inside their pens. And then here in 3 or 4 weeks, once we understand that they know where their boundaries are by the electric fence, we're going to turn them loose out around the pond with an electric fence perimeter. I've seen lots of people on YouTube who have done this and had success with it. We're a little leery, so this is our first time doing it. So we're kind of, Archie's 600 pounds. If he wants to 2 little strands of polywire, we ain't going to hold him back if he decides he wants to go through it. So we're hoping that he will learn enough that he will not mess with the electric fence if we train him to it inside his pen first. So we have had Archie, literally this gate that's behind me, he's lifted it off the hinges. He comes out and he knocks over our feed bucket. He eats feed till he's just sick. And then he walks off into our scruffy area over here and he decides he's going to take a nap. And we usually find him and bring him back in. And one night we couldn't find him. And he's a 600-pound boar. So when he's out, we live close to not a main road, but a pretty good travel road. And couldn't find him. The wife and I looked for probably 3 hours. I went to all the neighbors. I said, you haven't happened to see a 600-pound hog walking around, have you? And pretty much got a chuckle out of them. Couldn't find him. And so I ended up calling the police and telling them to be on lookout, because we sure didn't want anybody to hit him, because, obviously it would not be good for Archie, but it would really not be good for people in a car. And they were chuckling at me too. They hadn't had a call on a 600-pound boar just walking around on the roads before. So as it was, I left the gate open at about 7:30 when it was getting dark, and I was kind of hoping, well, maybe he'll just come back. And we were eating supper, and about 7:45, my neighbor called me and said, hey, is Archie's gate supposed to be open? So I told him the story about how Archie had got out and how he, we just left it open so he could come back in maybe. And he says, well, Archie's in his pen and he's asleep. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So we came back out here. Sure enough, he had found his way back. He had went into his little hut and he was sound asleep. We almost renamed him Otis at that point for you Andy Griffith fanatics out there. We thought it was pretty funny that he just went ahead and locked himself back up. So anyway, long story short, we have, right now, I believe we have 12 pigs on the property, 4 piglets, Albert Swinestein, who's pretty little, and I'll walk you around and show him, and his wife-to-be, who is about his size. Archie is going to go to freezer camp here before too long, and I assume Edith is too. We've had Edith since she was a baby, and that one's going to be tough. They always say don't name your pets, or don't name what you're going to eat. I'm sorry. And Edith has been a doll. She's right here right now. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. She looks when I say that. I'll show them to you. I'll walk you around, show you everybody. So she's probably going to go to freezer camp. We have 2 kids who we're probably going to butcher a couple of the smaller hogs for them so they have food. And anybody in northern Alabama who's looking for some Goss hogs, I can hook a brother up. So anyway, with that, I think I'll stop right here and I will walk you around a little bit and show you what we've done, what we have so far, and what our plan is for the future. So hold on, we'll be right back. Okay, so here's the setup that we have right now. There is 3 of our 4 little piglets over there having a big old time right now. This is Edith right here. This is one of Edith's daughters, and she's the bad daughter. She would not take care of her piglets when they were born. And this is the new mom over here, and she's taking care of the 4 piglets that are over there. As you can see, they have a farrowing hut right over there, and we've got hog wire all the way around. This is the gate that good old Archie lifted up off of its pins and decided he was going to make a break for it. So you can see Edith right here. She's a pretty good sized pig, but that's Archie, and Archie is a really big pig. Archie has 2 of his sons in here that are more than likely going to go to freezer camp right there, and that little one laying right there is Albert Swinestein, and we have heard that he's a little bit of a prognosticator, and maybe he'll get a little more airtime later going on. We're going to put it to the test and see if he can't pick the winners of football games here later on. So here's Archie, there's his 2 sons, and there's Albert. And you can see we've got a pretty good sized area for them here. There's their water tank down there. There is the hog trough we built for them yesterday that they're apparently already tearing up. They are destructive. And then down there, I don't know if you can see clear down there, but that is our overflow pond, and that's what we're going to put electric all the way around once we train them in here. So they should be living large once they get out in that area. So like I say, this was originally built with field fence, and then we ended up putting hog panels in, and as you can see right now, it's just a mess. We have bricks stacked up along here because they will root under the fence and try to get out. We put hog panels back in it. The main divider right here is the gate that Archie broke. As you can see down there, he broke the weld so he could get under to get at the girls. We got to fix that. We're going to electrify this whole thing, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be able to cut a panel out somewhere right in there or 2 and just let them go, and they are going to live large. I will tell you right now though, it's not so bad. A pig's life is not so bad. They are the most patient things on the planet, as they will, they have nothing but time. So they figure things out. And they know that, hey, I have to wait till it get a lot of rain in here so it gets wet, and then I can start rooting under the fence again, and pretty soon we're going to be broke out. So I'm not going to worry about it right now, because it's coming. It'll come. I know it's going to happen. And they do it. They can, nothing bothers them. You know, they don't ever have like bad days. They're so excited when the feed comes out. They're just the most carefree animal I think I have ever been around. They're very, these are Gloucester Old Spot, Goss hogs. They're very docile. I can walk in there with Archie and he's a good guy with me, you know. Some of them are a little skittish. They'll want to get away, especially the babies. But I mean, they just they just live a good life. You know, they're happy, they're go-lucky, they're just good. They're good animals, and we will always have them on the farm. We just need to learn how to keep the little suckers cased in a little better. Like already, the piglets will get under the fence right there and they'll be over with the boys. The boys don't care. They don't do anything with them, but I don't want them over there because I don't want them to get hurt, you know. We have 3 girls and 1 boy piglet right now. That girl right there, if you can see her, that is, if I haven't already said it, that is Albert Swinestein's wife. We haven't got a name for her yet, so if you guys have cool names for it, go ahead and throw them in the comments down below, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so this over here, that building over there, that's primarily, I built that as a farrowing hut. So when Edith was having babies, she could have a place by herself. She has successfully raised 3 litters in there. The first one was 8, the second 2 were 4 each. And we believe that's because good old Archie, who's laying in the puddle over there right now, is he's a little big to be breeding, and that's our fault. We let him get too big. So hopefully once we get him out around the pond out there, they can root and they can tear stuff up and they can do ever what they want. Plus, I think they can get a little more feed on their own, which will cut down on our feed bills. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you guys have any questions about the pigs, or like I say, I'm not sure I can tell you the right thing to do, but I can sure explain to you all the wrong things and where we wound up as a result. So, alrighty, well, our next project is going to be putting in the electric fence. We will probably film it and look for that in our next video. Until then, give it a go.